What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down why Alchemist has a 49.24% win rate. Honestly, I think this hero is underrated after the new patch. So one of its facets is seed money. It's basically that you start the game with 250 more gold, which is really nice. But the interesting one that I think is a little bit underrated is mixologist. That basically is an unstable concoction and berserk potion, recharge faster when chemical rage. That is really nice. So I really think that some players are actually dabbling in support alchemist, and that's not something new. There's always been crazy players out there trying to play some support alchemist. I think this might give them a much better way, especially when in chemical rage. You're going to be able to cast a lot more potions, which are going to be nice. That's going to be buffing your carry or your offlaner or whoever it may be that you want to buff. And then that extra unstable concoction is always going to be nice. It's practically like having an octarine, which is really nice, honestly. So spellcaster type alchemist builds are definitely going to be incoming, I think. So you're going to be seeing a lot of different builds coming out from the alchemist, maybe some null talisman instead of bracers, or you can mix and match and grab one of each, because alchemist does need some mana regen. So it does feel really good when you have a null tally instead of a soul ring. But you can also go back for the soul ring as well if you do feel like you need that extra armor. It is very necessary sometimes, especially on lanes against Slardar. You're going to need that extra armor, so it does feel great to have the soul ring sometimes rather than having the null talisman. But it definitely depends. If you're in a lane where you don't need that armor, the null talisman could definitely come in handy. And with the new changes, it also brings out alchemist with Grievous Greed already part of his kit. It's always going to feel really good to have this built into you, which basically means you just have to worry about maxing acid spray and unstable concoction. This is how it was before, so nothing really big changed in there. It was pretty much already there. It's just now it's an innate ability and you kind of don't see that, but it is pretty much the same thing. So nothing has changed on that part, but just overall having the alchemist being able to recharge unstable concoction and berserk potion much faster is a really big difference, especially for players who like to play spellcaster alchemist, who like to play around setup. But you can still go the classic radiance build. I think with the new meta, alchemist is in a really strong spot. I think the hero is really good because I've been playing it lately and it does feel much stronger than ever. At the same time, there's some really strong heroes in the meta that definitely counter alchemist, but we will be breaking down later. But basically the build is still power treads into radiance into blink, and then you decide if you want to get a BKB or an AC, or you can get both, then go back for the manta, then you can get a monkey king bar or shard. I do find Daedalus is a really good item build. A lot of people sleep on Daedalus. Once you have AC and you have Daedalus, you hit like an absolute truck. So if you do want that extra damage and you don't need to pierce evasion, you can go for the Daedalus instead of the monkey king bar because you already have that attack speed if you did go Assault Cuirass. You could also get moon shard. The hero just farms so much, and it's just a very easy hero to play in general. You're a very timing based hero though. It's the type of hero that you want to hit your item timings, and you basically want to go hard on the enemy carry. When they have one item, you have 2 or 3 items, and that is your big advantage. But once you hit the late game where everybody's pretty much equal on farm and you can't really slot yourself more, that's when alchemists start having issues, because you really can't scale any harder. I think this hero in the ultra late game is not as crazy as other heroes like Drow, Faceless Void, Slark. He's definitely not a very late game heavy hero. I think he's more of a mid game timing type of hero that wants to take over the game. So definitely don't try and always push games to the late. Try and win games as early as possible. That is why you're picking Alchemist, because he is the fastest farming hero in the game alongside Meepo. So you definitely need to make sure you are trying to hit those timings so you can win games a lot faster and play more optimally. You can also play Alchemist from the offlane nowadays. I have been seeing it quite a bit, and it pretty much does the same thing from the carry position. You still go for the radiance, you still go for the blink dagger, but sometimes you do get a little more utilities. I've seen some of them building some auras, so it honestly depends what your team needs and what type of player you are, but that's typically how you want to play the alchemist nowadays with this new patch. Now I'm going to be breaking down some of the best and worst matchups for the alchemist. So best matchups are Kunkka, Chen, Nagasire, and Templar Assassin. So these heroes are actually quite popular. I've seen a lot of Chen coming up, Kunkka as well, especially with the new changes. A lot of players have been picking him up. It does feel really good to play Kunkka right now from the mid lane. Templar Assassin as well. I'm not a big fan of Templar Assassin, but I have been seeing the hero here and there, and you're typically good up against her because you're a Radiance Buyer and then Acid Spray. It's just a really bad matchup for the Templar Assassin, but in the late game she kind of shreds you, so you need to be very careful with that. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword when it comes to that matchup. And some of the bad matchups are Juggernaut, Marcy, Slark, Troll Warlord, Ancient Apparition. So very popular heroes. So it can be a little problematic to be playing into these meta heroes because Juggernaut is meta right now. So is Marcy, so is Slark. These heroes are very tough to beat, but But if you're running into a game where these heroes are not present, you can definitely whip out the Alchemist. You can still win against these heroes, it's just a lot harder. Heroes like Slark are very difficult for the Alchemist to beat because the more you sustain in the fight, the more you last in the fight, the more stacks he's gonna get and the more damage he's gonna do. But if you're able to stomp the Slark early on and get a big lead, then definitely you can still win the game. You just need to push tempo and push as fast as possible, and you can still kind of make the matchup work. But with heroes like Troll Warlord, it's just a lot tougher. Troll is just made to man fight heroes, and heroes like Ursa as well are really good against the Alchemist. So pay attention when you guys are picking the Alchemist. Make sure you're playing it into a good matchup, and if you are playing it against a counter matchup, make sure you understand what your timings are and what the correct item build is going to be, because you can still pull out some wins even against a counter matchup. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Alchemist. It's definitely one of my favorite carries. I'm really looking forward to people dabbling into support Alchemist. I've been looking at a lot of replays where people are picking it, and I'm definitely having a lot of fun watching those and kind of seeing what the item builds are going to be, and I do want to try it myself and see how the support Alchemist can be. You definitely need to hit level 6 obviously to use that mixologist facet, but other than that, it's still going to be really strong. I feel like, especially being a support Alchemist, you're kind of just getting free gold, and you can kind of farm the creep waves quite easily when there is some downtime in the game. So it can feel great to play some support Alchemist. There's not a whole lot of downside to the hero, and you can always build Aghanim Scepter for your allies, so it can feel very good. If you guys have ever played support Alchemist, let me know in the comments, how does it feel to actually play some support Alchemist? I haven't tried it, but I definitely want to do that, especially with this facet now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys learned something, leave a comment down below and consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.